Hello, I'm Kaiser and welcome to Moose Reads. Before I get started, I want to say that the opinions that I give here are my own opinions. They are extremely subjective. If I dislike a book, it is not a reflection on the author, and it is not a reflection on people who do like it. Different people have different tastes, and that's okay. Today, I will be reviewing Wren Ruins It All by Amanda Dewitt. This is a romance novel. The description says, "Now that Wren Martin is student council president, on a technicality, but hey, it counts, he's going to fix Rapture High. His first order of business, abolish the school's annual Valentine's Day dance, a drain on the school's resources and general social nightmare, especially when you're asexual. His greatest opponent, Leo Reyes, vice president and all-around annoyingly perfect student. Leo has a solution to Wren's budget problem, a sponsorship from Buddy, the anonymous Not a Dating app, sweeping the nation. Now, instead of a danceless senior year, Wren is in charge of the biggest dance Rapture High has ever seen. He's even secretly signed up for the app. For research, of course. But when Wren develops capital F feelings for his anonymous match, things spiral out of control. Wren decided a long time ago that dating while asexual wasn't worth the hassle. With the big night rapidly approaching, he isn't sure what will kill him first. The dance, his relationship drama, or the growing realization that Leo's perfect life might not be so perfect after all." 4 stars. My brother has an Audible account, and there's a lot of overlap in our reading tastes. So we recently decided to try to listen to at least one of his audiobooks every month. So far, our success has been a bit spotty. We were listening to the Farseer trilogy, and we never managed to get to that faster than every other month. But since we finished Farseer in June, and neither of us want to continue with the Realm of the Elderlings, this month needed a new pick. I looked through the ones I was interested in, and nearly all of them are part of a series. I wasn't quite ready to commit to another series at the time, and this book was one of the few standalones in his collection, so I picked it. I did think it sounded at least mildly interesting, but I honestly didn't expect much from it, so I was pleasantly surprised. This book relies very heavily on suspension of disbelief. It's very obvious from the start exactly who Wren is texting on Buddy, but the nature of the story requires him to never figure it out. The same goes for the Buddy in question, so the more hints that the author drops, the more ridiculous it starts to feel. Honestly, I expected one of them to figure it out early, and for that to contribute to some awkwardness, but that just doesn't happen. That isn't necessarily a bad thing, I'm just saying it strains credulity. Mostly, this book was a fun read. As long as you can put up with the two boys being painfully oblivious, it's a little funny, a little deep, and generally a good story with good characters. None of the reveals are terribly surprising, but they also weren't presented with the sort of gravitas that makes me think they were meant to be. The one real complaint I have is that I was a little unsatisfied with where the couple stood at the point where they got together. I'll talk about this more in the spoilers, but the edited version is that it felt like there was a lot of baggage hanging over them that they didn't really address. Overall, this probably would have been a 3-star, except Wren is a homoromantic asexual who is either repulsed or just generally not interested in ever having sex, and I felt a deep kinship with his complicated feelings on relationships. Though I will say that his deep loathing of school dances seems a little ridiculous. Which I say as a person who went stag to my senior prom and still had a blast hanging out with my friends. If you're looking for a cute, kind of funny teen romance, or enjoy some good ace rep, I'd recommend giving this one a shot. That's it for no spoilers. If you don't like spoilers, now is the time to pause or close the video. For everyone else, let's talk details. So, the anonymous buddy is Leo. That was obvious just from the synopsis, right? It is also rather obvious from the jump that Wren has a serious crush on Leo already and somehow has failed to notice. Leo, likewise, very clearly likes Wren, so this does end up being an entire book about two boys who already like each other, falling for each other twice over. It's a little ridiculous, but it's also kind of cute. As I said earlier, there are some painfully obvious clues that should have allowed the boys to figure out who they were chatting with. Leo actually takes the prize on this one, however, because Wren keeps chickens. Wren mentions his chickens during their anonymous texting, and later Leo comes to his house and sees him with chickens. The excuse that is tossed out, which I think was supposed to hand-wave this silliness, is that lots of people keep chickens. I'm not going to argue with that. Lots of people might. The thing is, I highly doubt that there are a wealth of gay teenage boys that are part of their senior class that keep chickens, which are all facts Leo knows are true of his buddy. I really thought Leo finding Wren with his chickens would be the point at which he put 2 and 2 together and then got awkward about it. I think maybe if this book had been dual perspective, we might have gotten the version where that happened, because getting close to Wren without any preconceptions was his entire inspiration for creating Buddy in the first place. That's the other reveal, by the way. Leo created Buddy. I defy anyone not to guess that before Leo tells Wren. As we approach the date of the dance and the end of the book, Wren struggles a bit with which of the 2 boys he likes he'd rather go to the dance with, which is kind of a funny dilemma for the reader. Eventually, he decides that while he likes his buddy, their relationship is based on a very limited understanding of each other and isn't entirely real, so he goes for Leo. This is where things start to go wrong. Wren asks Leo to the dance, and Leo says no. Because Wren initially convinced himself that he hated Leo, he hasn't been very nice to him, and Leo isn't convinced that starting a relationship with him now wouldn't just end in him getting hurt more. His reasoning mostly makes sense, and I don't blame him for it. Trouble is, we get to the dance, and Wren's buddy decides he wants to meet him after all, inviting him to come join him on the beach behind the venue if he's game. Wren, having been rejected by Leo and still kind of interested in his buddy, goes and is surprised to discover it's been Leo all along. Leo tries to shoo him away, not wanting to deal with Wren while waiting for his anonymous friend, and eventually realizes what's happened. And then they get together. They really don't talk about basically any of it. Leo didn't want to date Wren, but once he sees that he fell for him twice, and Wren apparently did the same, he's just cool with it, I guess. I found it extremely unsatisfying. It really felt like there ought to have been a bit more book, but Dewitt just got bored and quit. That's all I have to say about Wren Martin Ruins It All. If you like this video, I hope you'll watch more in the future. Thanks for watching this one. Bye!